3, 2, 1, mark. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the game now. When I was going to play into this one, I wanted to either play Acquisition or Unmasking. Acquisition, Unmasking, and Supplies are the three missions that I feel the least good about, I guess, for the major tournament that I'm going to be going to. The other two are Decapitation and Firefight. Very straightforward. Unmasking, Supplies, and Acquisition are all reasonably straightforward, but there are some problems with them, notably that Supplies and Unmasking I don't feel should be used in competitive play. I've gone back and forth on that with Unmasking, but I think the element of guesswork with the HVTs and the overwhelming first turn advantage where you can barely get anything out of going second makes it a bad mission. I probably will post a video about that at some point because there's lots of missions in the ITS packet that would be really great for competitive play with just one or two very small changes, usually the addition of an exclusion zone. But that's a video for another day. So we ended up playing Unmasking. I think we just diced off to see which one of the two we would play. I lose the lieutenant role, so my opponent just chooses to take the first turn, as you almost always should in Unmasking. The only time I would recommend against that is if you measure out the table and you can find that one side has an extremely good places to hide the HVTs, where it would be very difficult for your opponent to get to them outside of like spec fire or something like that. But that's usually not the case, especially at tournaments where they don't move terrain around in between matches and all that kind of stuff. So we'll have a look at the table here. It's playing on some pretty standard terrain with some scatter and all that kind of stuff. This table was not set up by me or my opponent, but by a third party, as we usually do in my my local shop. So nothing too crazy here as far as needing to talk about, like what blocks line of sight, what doesn't, that kind of thing. It's just all as is. So I took pictures in reverse order, so we're going to go through my deployment first, even though I deployed second. Sorry about that. The way I took the pictures ended up being in reverse order. So we can start over here. I'm deploying on the left, my left-hand side of the table. So I do have quite a few proxies for this game. I have several people painting stuff for me so that I can be ready by the time Rumble comes. I would like a fully painted army. So we have one HVT here. This is actually the designated target. Fairly obvious placement because I have a lot of my army around here and stuff like that. But because of how Unmasking works, you can second guess yourself and weird things can happen. So, you know, I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do this. And I'm still kind of figuring out how Unmasking works, but that is the real HVT. We have Gaurel with Spitfire here with a Symbiont. He's going to be in a triad with my Kumatale Dr. Engineer and my McCall with the usual loadout. We have the Raseo with Symbiont right here, and then this Krakot or whatever that guy is supposed to be, some Morat model, is pretending to be her Chaxa for the day. Moving along, you can see the stuff on the left some more. I have both Kael'tars on rooftops, prone. Again, that's just to defend against airborne deployment. I didn't think there was any in the Bakunin list, but the way that the order groups went, one had almost nothing in it that was like a valuable model. It was just like some flash remotes and some Morlocks and a couple of the zeros, stuff like that. So I figured that there would either be something coming down. Most likely option is Brando Castro, but could be some kind of whatever the remote that they have that can airborne deployment is. So just wanted to be a little bit safe there. And then I'm probably going to stay back with this triad anyways because it encompasses the sniper rifle Gaurel. So if they need to, they can pop up and flash pulse or something like that. Not too big of a deal. We also have the Surta Beast and the Corel Preceptor hiding out. Corel Preceptor is going to be my data tracker for this mission. And then we have somebody else pretending to be a Chaxa right here. I forget what that is. It's another Morat model. It just has a flamethrower, so I figured that that was a good enough stand-in, and I'm not playing Morat, so it's not too confusing. Over here on the other side, we have another baggage Chaxa down here with a 40k Orc Boy. This Sakiel is also pretending to be a Chaxa. We have a McCall up here who's going to be in a triad with this regular Kamel and then another Kamel that we'll get to, I think, on the next photo. Yes, so you can see this Kamel is a forward observer, and then we have the last Chaxa over here, just defending all my lines and all that kind of good stuff. I have another HVT right here, and then another HVT here, so those are going to be the decoy ones. that's just where they are. Nothing really to say about that. I did push one up pretty far on my opponent's table edge, but that's because he doesn't really have anything that's that close to it. Does have a fire team in like this building, but would have to move a little bit to get to it, which I might get some arrows for and things like that. Otherwise, we just have like a flash pulse bot back here, which isn't going to be able to hurt it at all. So that's my deployment, sans my hold model. Going over, this is just a better shot of my 2 HVTs. You can also see one of the camo tokens that's prone right in front of the console there. All right, so now we'll get into Bakunin deployment. We have a flash remote up here on the building. Good sight line this way, and he's also a repeater, so going to be able to do some fun hacking stuff. Morlock here rolls up super jump. We have the Link team right up in here. So this guy is going to be the dude with the pitcher, sniper, combi, and combi. So nothing really that outrageous there. We have one of the enemy HVTs right here. The other one is like right back over here or something like that. I don't think I got a super good shot of it, but those two are pretty close together. We have another Morlock here. She also rolled super jump, funnily enough. And then I think some other photos will show the other side's a bit better. Yeah, so we can see this is going to be the War Core right here. We have another camo token here and a camo token here. So 3 camo tokens infiltrating onto the consoles. Those are most likely going to be zeros, either forward observers or maybe the cheap hacker one. I can't remember if it's a killer hacker or hacking device plus. We have Kusanagi and friends up here. So that's going to be definitely a part of the board that my opponent wants to hold, since his only really serious models besides Brando Castro are going to be hanging out right there. And then we have another flash remote who's just kind of arrow in the console, but I don't really like that placement all that much, just because it's not particularly difficult to get through a flash remote arrow if you really need to get somewhere. So that's the bulk of the list. Is there another photo? Yes, there's one more photo over here of another Morlock on my extreme right-hand side. He rolled up regeneration, which you will probably never get a chance to use. Although if you do, it's not too bad on them. So that's where everything is. For the hold model, so me and my opponent are very well familiar with each other, very friendly. So we use this as more of a teaching game. We both hate unmasking and are trying to get better at it. So we talked it out where he wanted to use Brando Castro as his data tracker. Obviously, you cannot be in a marker state to do that. So after some conversation, we both agreed that it's probably the best play to deploy Brando Castro outside of a marker state, somewhere safe, and make him the data tracker. The reason for that is he has climbing plus and super jump, so it's very difficult to keep him out of any kind of area. He'll always be able to get at least one shot on the designated target if it gets revealed and all that kind of stuff. So even though he's not going to be used as he normally would be, as kind of like a surprise go around and shotgun or stab people and try to get a bunch of points that way, he still does have a very effective role in the game. So for my hold, I have my Libertome Mine Layer here. He's in range to chain cult either this objective or this objective. This is very important for me on this mission. The Liberto is one of my most important models, just because you cannot stop your opponent from getting to the consoles if you're going second and they have infiltrating specialists. You just can't do it. They'll just walk into base to base with it and push the button. Best you can do is hope for that they fail and that you kill them, but you cannot stop them from trying. So what I'm doing with the Liberto is just trying to get some value out of him. Usually the infiltrating specialists are going to be in the 20-ish of points. So if I can get one or even both of them, that does put me up on attrition, and that's kind of my plan going second, as I want to have a very attrition heavy game plan. So the ideal outcome is like this guy reveals, pushes the button, I kill it, or maybe like I take a wound, he combos me, I take a wound, and then I kill it with the chain cult, go dogged, and then the other one either has to wait a turn, which means that I might be able to discover it and remove it before it gets to use the console, or it does the same thing, and then I can pick up a bunch of points there. So either way, that guy's going to be good. And then the mine is deployed just a little bit shy of the console and all that. Not super great mine placement, just because the War Core is right here, and that's the best model in the Bakunin list to eat the mine with. The Morlocks are also good because they're very cheap, but the War Core is like the cheapest of cheap, so he's not really going to be mining that mine too much. All right, so we go into turn 1. I decide to reduce combat group 2 by 2 orders. The reason for that is I don't think, based on the position of the moderator fire team or Kusanagi and friends, that they're going to be doing a bunch of hoofing it around. It feels like this list is more built to have a heavy ARO presence with the 2 fire teams, let Brando do his thing after the consoles have been grabbed by the camo tokens, and that's kind of the basic gist. So I was hoping that even though I can't really stop the consoles from being activated, I could at least limit the orders that I think one of the Zeros and Brando are sharing. There's not that many regular orders in that pool because there's like all the Morlocks and stuff. So either he's going to have to convert a bunch of those, which could come in handy for me later, or he just won't be able to execute his game plan fully on turn 1 as far as like getting the designated target killed as quickly as possible, which is always what you want to do in Unmasking. So that was the thought process there. So we go into it. The Morlock on my right-hand side runs out, is seen by the Kamel FO. So I can either choose to Flash Pulse here, or I can choose to Combi Rifle. If I Flash Pulse, it's not really going to do anything. It's just preventing the smoke from going down. You can see the smoke trying to be placed onto the camo token there, which I don't mind so much because the Kamel cannot see the camo token where she is. And the Galrail Spitfire can from all the way down the board. So he sees widthwise. And the smoke's not going to stop him from doing that because he has MSV2. So I decided to go with the combi because that way, if I at least win the face-to-face, I might kill the Morlock, and that's just one model down. So I'm -3 for range, and that's it. So I'm 2 dice on 8s versus 1 dice, which would normally be on a 16, I think. But the Morlock threw the smoke just a little bit outside of 8 inches. So it ended up being on like a 10 or something, 1 dice on a 10. But I still lose the face-to-face roll, so the smoke goes down there. Morlock is unharmed. Morlock over on the left-hand side just kind of moves along here. Nobody sees her or anything like that, so don't have to worry about anything going on there. She just moves up and gets into position for future turns. And then the last Morlock runs through the middle here. I believe there was a problem with my arc, like clipping this building or something, so I don't think I got to shoot that particular Morlock, and then like this guy can't see with his pistol or anything like that. So and then the sniper wouldn't normally be able to see, but this dumpster is just the same size as a Silhouette 2 model. So since she's behind it, nobody can see her. So again, she just moves up. I don't think she threw any smoke, but I can't exactly remember. Smoke is not the biggest deterrent to my list because I have 2 models with MSV2. So that's probably why I don't remember one way or the other. So here we have, I believe this is a white noise token. So there is a repeater like right about here. So Kusanagi's fire team gets canceled voluntarily because Kusanagi is in line of fire of my Galrail sniper. So if my opponent wants to put down the white noise, which is very good against my list because my 2 of my major fighters are MSV2, he would proc an arrow. I get 2 shots into Kusanagi for free. She's not shock immune. She has decent armor, but I'm using a sniper rifle, so very likely that she would die there. So canceling the fire team, definitely the right choice there. And then just hacks the white noise down via the repeater so that I can't arrow with the Galrails. So over here we have one of the moderators with the pitcher. He moves and shoots a pitcher to right here, so that's gonna be that token just to give some more coverage. Having repeaters or pitchers near the objectives is really good against me in this mission because I have, again, 2 MSV2 guys, and that's something that nomads in particular are able to take good advantage of. They usually have a lot of pitchers, repeaters, and then the hacking devices that have white noise on them. So not something I would run into all the time, but certainly something that's a problem in this game. And then this token right here is just going to be another white noise that she puts down. So the left console and the middle console both have white noise on them, which is going to take away pretty much all of my arrows other than like the Liberto and stuff like that. All right, so the trying to remember exactly the sequencing here. So the right camo token reveals that it's a 0 for observer, goes and touches the console. He is in the smoke, so the Liberto can't do anything about that. Manages to activate it. My opponent correctly guesses which HVT is the designated target, so not a very good start there. And then the camo token in the center we have a bit of a rules flub here. So what should happen is the camo token says, well, no, I don't know if it's a rules flub, but it's just a weird interaction because we were trying to shortcut. So basically, the camo token walks and bases the console, at which point it gets revealed, I believe, or I don't remember if it gets revealed then or not revealed until it tries to push the button. I can't remember either way. So I'm supposed to hold here, obviously, and then shoot him later because it's a camo token. But instead, I just kind of assume that he's going to push the button. So I just say, I'm just going to chain cult you, even though I can't chain cult him yet because he's not revealed. So then my opponent says, okay, I'm going to shoot you back instead of pressing the console, which I don't think under the ordinary sequence of how that stuff works would be allowed because I was also in a marker state. But I'm getting a little bit confused on some of the camo token rules here, so sorry about that. But what ends up happening is I take a shot from the combi rifle, go dogged, and then I manage to knock the Zero unconscious with the chain cult before it's able to activate the console. So at least that one's not activated just yet, and I still have my mine in place. So over here, not... Oh, yes, so Kusanagi comes out, the fire team gets reforged. I believe... Was it Kusanagi? No, so I think what happened is, so the moderators with the snipers are like back here near the top of the photo. One can see down this way, but if she activates, my sniper would get a shot on probably the other sniper in the fire team. So again, we voluntarily cancel the fire team so that Bakunin can slice the pie a little bit, and then has a face-to-face roll against my Rasail, who was like right about here, didn't have very much line of sight, but I left her out just a little bit too much. So I choose to just try to dodge this way, fail, of course, although my opponent is only on 10s because plus range, minus cover, doesn't have fire team bonus anymore. It's only 2 shots, no +3 ballistic skill, but I fail, taking 2 hits. So at this point, I choose not to burn the Symbiont after thinking about it a little bit. If I pass one of the saves, I believe I need 12s against a sniper rifle, then I'll take a wound, I can fail guts to safety, and I get to keep the Symbiont. So it is risky because if I fail both of them, I'm sorry, it was 1 shot, but it was double action, so 2 rolls. If I fail both of them, then I'm going to go Symbiont inactive, which not only makes the model significantly worse, but I'm also going to spend the Symbiont without having done anything with it. But in the end, I managed to pass one of the arm rolls, fail one, so she takes a wound, guts is back, just like I planned. Over here, the Zero on the right goes into suppressive fire just to try to make my life a little bit harder. Nothing really too crazy going on there. Over here, we have the Zero go and activate the console because he's in the white noise and I have nothing else that sees him besides the Spitfire. So I can't arrow him or anything like that. Just picks one of the things he knows is a decoy so that he can shoot it for points. I believe it was the actual diplomatic delegate model, kind of more in the middle. So picks that one and then decides to start moving around to try to have some face-to-face rolls with my Rasail's Chaxa right here. So we're right here. I choose to just dodge, I believe dodge towards, so that I can maybe use the flamethrower if he's intent on having a couple face-to-face rolls, things like that. On the first one, I believe we bounce off of each other, so nothing happens. No guts for me or anything like that. And then we give the Zero another order. He hops over the railing here. Sorry for a bit of a blurry photo. Has another face-to-face. I do the same ARO. This time we don't bounce. I take a hit, and I'm not able to pass the armor roll. So a little bit lucky there just because the Chaxa did have cover as well as mimetism. So the Zero is on 8s against my 11. So still definitely favored for him, but could have easily gone like a different way or something like that. But in the end, the Chaxa goes unconscious. Not the worst thing ever for 2 orders, in my opinion. So in the center here, yeah, so this is pretty much like the last order that my opponent has. So he just moves the War Core up, this way, triggers the mine, tries to dodge it, fails the dodge, but passes the arm save, so the War Core is sitting pretty in the middle. Pretty annoying there, but that is bad mine placement for me, like I said. And then at the end of the turn, or before ending the turn, uses 2 command tokens to reforge both fire teams for, arrow purposes and all that kind of stuff. So 3 command tokens from me, 2 command tokens from my opponent, if you are keeping track at home. Not the worst first turn for me. I did manage to drop one of the zeros. I lost the Liberto, but he kind of died doing what he was expecting to. And then it's costing Bakunin a lot of orders to get these like white noises down and stuff. They have to make sure that the repeaters are in range or throw a pitcher down, which costs an order. And they have to pass the whip check. I think one of them failed. There's a couple failed ones throughout the game, stuff like that. So even though it is really annoying that I can just be shut off from AROing, it is costing a good few orders to do so at least. So a little bit of a silver lining there. Okay, so we're going to go into my turn 1. I start turn 1 as you would any good turn 1 by making a horrible mistake. So I look at the board, and I'm thinking about what I want to do, and my plan is to play for attrition. So we don't care about the consoles right now. I care about pushing Bakunin out of the middle. That way I can grab the consoles later, and I can also try to devastate his order pool, which will just make the game easier, obviously. So to that effect, I give an order to the Kamel Triad. I keep the forward observer Kamel in charge. She once again tries to shoot the Morlock that she saw before. This time being on burst 4 instead of burst 2 because I'm in the active turn. Still on 8s though, just because of bad range. He tries to smoke dodge, but this time I get the better of him. I hit him a couple times, Morlock dies, that's fine. It was the one with regeneration, so full killing him was a nice little silver lining there as well. So that play is totally fine. I then give them another order and poke out a little bit with the Kamel to see the Zero, who is in suppressive fire, which this is a bad fight. So I'm burst 4, plus for range, minus for mimetism, minus for cover. So I'm going to be on 8s again. I'm going to be on 5s because suppressive fire as well. He is going to be on 11s, plus 0 for range, minus 3 for cover. So he's going to be on 8s with 3 dice. So 4 dice 5s versus 3 dice 8s. I just didn't run the math in my head before I committed to this. So I pop out, lose the face-to-face roll predictably, and the Kamel goes unconscious. The big reason that this is important is because that was my only specialist on the right-hand side of the board, so that console is now much harder for me to get to. Another problem was that the Galrail with the Spitfire, like I said, can see down this way, but I just forgot that. It's sometimes hard for me to keep models on the other side of the table in mind when I'm looking at how to deal with the problem, when I have models in the area. So that was just a big mistake on my part. Probably could have taken out the Zero for almost nothing and not lost the Kamel, but in the end, the Kamel goes unconscious, Triad breaks, which is also going to make my McCall impetuous, sad noise. All right, so we go over here. I start giving a couple orders to the Corel Preceptor. He does have to take a path that is going to let, I think, one of the snipers or Kusanagi see him as he crosses, something like that. So I decided that that's just what I have to do. We have one face-to-face roll where I do a smoke dodge, which I win. So the Corel Preceptor doesn't take any damage, which is very important because he's my data tracker. And then we cross some more. This time the Certabeast gets caught out. I don't have the orders, or I don't want to use the orders to have him like dodge and stuff like that. So I just decide to basically give him up. The Certabeast gets put unconscious, which is a bummer. But the Corel gets to where I needed to, and then proceeds to fail to throw a smoke 2 or 3 times. I think it was 2. 1 or 2 times or something like that. But then eventually I get the smoke down here, which is exactly where I wanted it, because then I can see, I can be in the smoke and see a lot of the Nomad stuff, and then I can try to go on a bit of a killing spree with the Spitfire, which was the plan for the turn. So I'm still playing to the plan, fortunately. So the first thing we do is we take care of the Morlock, who is right here, can't smoke dodge against me, has to try to regular dodge, no chance against burst 5 on 15s. Almost no prayer in the world unless you crit or something like that. So he goes down very easily. We then come out and try to have a face-to-face roll with the 0 here. Again, this 0 is not in suppressive fire. He's going to be plus minus for oh no, he's just going to be, okay, he's going to be -6 for smoke if he shoots back, so he of course tries to dodge. I roll very badly. I think I get like 1 hit on 5 dice. Not even the dodge. I think the dodge failed. I just rolled really bad. And then the 0 makes his arm save and just fails guts going prone. So definitely bummed about that one because that leaves a model in the middle. Remember, my goal is to get rid of models in the middle, especially such an easy to kill one, 0 with no armor. So that was a bit of a bummer there, but hey, life goes on. So just moving, staying in the smoke here. So get into a face-to-face roll with the moderator with the pitcher that was right there. He's also the team lead, so if I kill him, the team is going to break, which is a great bonus. Obviously, the team has 6th Sense level 2, but that guy only has a combi, and he's in the reactive turn, and he's a moderator, so he sucks. So he just tries to dodge, gets completely murked for his troubles, so I managed to break the fire team there, which is going to help a lot more on going after the snipers and stuff like that, because they're not going to benefit from as many rules as they would ordinarily benefit from. Oh, yep. So another order, I killed the 0 that was over here with the Gaurel, as I should have done in the first place. So despite me making a mistake, at least I, shorted up in the end. So that one's dead. So that pretty much removes everything that's on the right-hand side. The Morlock is gone. The 0 is gone. The flash remote is still there. And Brando is still there, but he's not going to be coming out anytime soon. And then the HVT right here is the one that's revealed as a decoy that happened on turn 1 for Nomads. All right, so continuing the Gaurels, just offensive explosion. I believe I try to have a face-to-face roll with this Morlock, and I think he does actually manage to make his dodge, so super low odds there, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened is he dodges out of range. And then I have a face-to-face roll with each of the moderator snipers. I don't know if I have a great picture of that. No, probably this is the best we're going to get. So the first, so these guys are going to be on 10s because remember they're not in a fire team anymore. So they're burst 1 on 10s, plus for range, minus for cover. I'm going to be on 12s, plus for range, minus for cover. But I have 5 dice. So I'm on a better number, and I have 5 times the dice. So the first one I win, inflicting 2 hits, but both of the arm rolls are passed, which is very frustrating. So the sniper just gets to fail guts and go prone. I have a face-to-face roll with the other one, pretty much the same outcome. This time it goes unconscious. So at least that one's down, but leaving one of the snipers up. I don't like how many models I'm leaving up here, and it's mostly from unlucky dice interactions, which is you can't do anything about, but it's, I could have picked up this 0, this Morlock, and that other sniper, which would have been a really, really big attrition swing. At that point, I'm really eating hard into my opponent's orders. It just didn't work out. So this is going to be an overview shot of the table. This is kind of me wrapping up the turn. So at some point I made the McCall the triad leader so that I could swing the doctor around here and swing the Gaurel around this way while using him as like a linchpin for 8 inches. So I ended up putting the Gaurel here. Again, just trying to put some models in ARO if Brando decides he wants to make a run, because remember my designated target is revealed. But otherwise, this guy's in a pretty safe place. It's not like the moderators are going to come get him or anything. And then if they do, I moved the Rasail forward and put her in a suppressive fire. She's taken a wound, but she still has a Symbiont and all that kind of good stuff. She has nanoscreen. So it's at least going to take some orders to force her away, which is exactly what I want my opponent to be doing, is using orders on my models and not going after my revealed designated target until I can defend her and take more orders away and stuff like that. So the sniper moves up to this corner so that he can see like this way. Again, we're trying to block Brando Castro off. I want some stuff to fight Kusanagi if I need to, that kind of thing. And then crucially, I stand up both of the Kael'thar specialists. So the intention here was, again, just to be able to cover the middle some more. I really, really think that Brando is going to make his move this turn because I'm kind of announcing my intention to play for attrition. So if he waits too long, he might not have enough orders to have enough tries to get the designated target dead. Because remember, he has a boarding shotgun, so he's probably going to be 0s at best, -3 at worst. Only 2 shots because he's not in a fire team or anything, obviously. So it's not the most free pickup right now, and so I'm trying to make that harder. Was the intention with getting those Kael'thars up there. I don't remember why I Oh yeah, so this is going to be Bakunin turn 2. I just took this picture to remind myself that Brando was moved out of Combat Group 2 into Combat Group 1. That's because like 2 of the Morlocks are dead. I think the 0 that was in that group is dead. So he's really doesn't have that many orders to work with on that guy, and he needs orders on his data tracker. So spends a command token to move him back over, leaving him with only 1 command token because we reforged 2 fire teams. Now we moved a guy over. So we go over to here, and I'm trying to remember exactly what this photo was of. Oh, yeah, so this is Impetuous Order. So the remaining Morlock comes down, can be seen by the Spitfire, but I'm also going to be in chain rifle range. So choose to dodge with the Gaurel. This guy is in suppressive fire, so we're going to do some suppressive fire stuff. And then I think those were the only people that could see it. So I'm kind of banking on the Rasail here to get the shots on, but it's pretty good odds. So having seen those arrows, my opponent decides not to chain rifle, I believe. He either does chain rifle and I make the dodge, or he does not chain rifle and tries to smoke dodge the Rasail. Either way, everything fails from him and he gets killed by the viral combi pretty easily. So I think that's, the next photo you can see that he's gone, although the 0 is still there, much to my chagrin. All right, so at this point, it's revealed how big of a mistake I made with the Kael'tars, because the moderator sniper that I should have definitely been able to kill stands up. I believe they do reorganize that fire team into a 3-man. I can't remember, but in any case, she stands up, and because they're on this building right here, there's like some verticality that's just off the picture. She can slice the pie between the two. So starts having some face-to-face rolls against the Kael'tars. I'm having to do math quickly in my head at this point because for some reason I just didn't think about the moderator doing that. I was very focused on Brando Castro doing his thing and trying to stop that. So I decided to flash pulse back with both of them. I believe we have 3 face-to-face rolls in total here. I think 1 was a bounce, but the other 2 went against me. So it's going to be, I don't think the fire team was reforged. So it's going to be 2 shots, double action on 10s for range and cover. Against 2 dice because I'm in a triad, flash pulsing. So I'm going to be a -3 range for flash pulse and -3 for cover. So I'm on 8s. So it's 2 dice on 10s versus 2 dice on 8s. Not the best firefight to take. That could easily sap up a lot of your orders. Obviously, if the thing goes blind, then it's just down because it's very unlikely to pass those flash pulse saves, although it was very unlikely to pass the Spitfire saves, so what do I know? But in the end, both the Kael'tars go down. 1 is unconscious, 1 is fully dead. The reason this matters, other than losing 2 orders and 2 models, is now I have no chain of command, and the Rasail is in a precarious position. So if the Rasail dies, I'm going to be in loss of lieutenant, and that's pretty much going to be the game right there. So now I have to think about keeping the Rasail, somewhat safe. So moving on here, I think this is just an overview shot. Oh yeah, so a white noise goes down here from the flash remote that's just behind this box right here. I don't remember what the purpose of that white noise was because I don't think there's any models back there. So it wasn't like blocking anything. Oh no, I'm sorry. That came down so that the sniper could have a face-to-face against both of the Kael'tars without my sniper getting involved. So that's why that white noise is there. And I think that just came down from the hacker with in Kusanagi's Harris team. So you can get kind of an overview of that. Moving on here. Let's see here. I took a lot of pictures this game, so I'm just trying to remember what happened in each one of them. This might have just been like a close-up shot or something. Yeah, because I think what's happening is there's another white noise that goes down like here-ish or something to try to, again, block the MSV2 guys because the 0 wants to be able to shoot the Gauro with the Spitfire because that's a major obstacle for Brando being able to do what he wants to do. So we're just white noising so that I can't shoot back. Although I will be able to shoot with the Rasail again. Rasail really coming in handy here to at least give me some defensive options other than just dodging and praying in the reactive. So as you can see, yep, the other white noise goes down right on top of where the zero's going to be. Zero stands up, tries to shoot the Galrail. Galrail dodges in place, and the Rasail suppressive fires back. I managed to win the face-to-face roll with the dodge. So it's plus minus. So it's 3 shots on 11s from the zero, whereas my Rasail is 3 shots on 6s because I'm in zero band still, but there's mimetism and there's cover. I might have been able to shoot him. No, I wasn't able to shoot him out of cover. So yeah, I just got lucky and rolled a low number and then melted to the viral. So managed to get rid of that zero now and also kind of took away an extra order there, placing that white noise. So again, a little bit of a silver lining. I believe this is my turn because the white noises are gone. So I think this is just kind of an overview shot of what's going on and all that good stuff. Yep, so I have an Impetuous McCall now because the Kamel Forward Observer died and broke the team. So he has to run towards the closest thing, which is going to be like Kusanagi up on this building here. So he just runs down a couple rungs on the ladder. She sees him and shoots with the Spitfire. I try to eclipse smoke dodge and manage to win the face-to-face roll. So I think I'm 1 dice on 16s. She's 2 dice on 17s because I'm impetuous, so no cover, and she's in good range. So I think just biff the rolls or something like that, and I managed to keep the McCall alive. Don't really care about that McCall. I don't really have anything to do with him right now. There's nobody for him to go kill. His smoke is not particularly useful over here right now. So it was nice that he lived, but not really anything that's going to change the game that much. So I start giving some orders to the Galrail Triad. There's very little in ARO at this point because I've managed to kill so much of the Nomad army, so I can kind of engage things one by one. My plan is still to play heavily for attrition because Bakunin turn 3 is coming up and Brando Castro still hasn't done anything, so that's obviously going to be the turn that he has to commit. So the more orders I can deny him and the more pieces I can deny my opponent to remove my arrow pieces, the better. And then I'm hoping that if I can weather that storm, that there won't be that much left, and then I can go pick up the consoles and do a bunch of stuff on the last turn relatively unmolested. So that's the plan at least. So we start moving up here. There's really nothing in ARO. Kusanagi has moved to a location or something like that. She's not overwatching this area like she was, so these guys are pretty safe. And then the Galrail is not being seen by hardly anything. So I move up with him, managed to kill the sniper that I was hoping to kill on turn 1. Same, dice as we were on before. I was just barely outside of 16, which would have otherwise she would have been on 7s, but does manage to get killed anyways. And then I believe I also killed the flash remote. The reason I did that is because even though there isn't anything useful in the second group as far as like something to dump orders into, it is still a repeater, and as well as being an annoying ARO piece. So if I can remove the repeaters, that makes it harder for the white noises to go down and stuff like that. I've already killed one of the guys with pitchers, so there's only one model left with a pitcher. So anything I can do to make my opponent's turn more order intensive and harder to disrupt my game plan is worth doing. So I managed to put down the flash remote as well, and then there's nothing watching the middle anymore, so I get to go and grab the consoles with the doctor. So you can see I grabbed the left and the center console, so that's going to give me 2 of the 3 consoles. The other one belongs to Bakunin still as far as points go. And I guess both of the HVTs that are on my side of the table. So I was wrong both times. They're both decoys. And then this is kind of where the mission gets a little questionable for me. I'm way ahead. I have a huge attrition advantage. I have all the positional advantage, like all that stuff, but I crucially guessed wrong with both of my guesses. So now the only console I can get is very far away. So that's going to make this a lot harder to do, which just was an unfortunate thing that happened. A bunch of white noises went off just as arrows as I was moving around. I don't care. I'm not trying to kill anything. I'm just moving the doctor around and getting consoles done and stuff like that. So we get those done. I pretty much leave the Rasail where she is. The Krail had to come up, as you can see on the bottom of the photo there, and drop a smoke just to avoid, I think, some arrows on the approach as I was getting all of this done, and all that kind of good stuff, so that he did his job. So mostly this turn was just about killing a couple of models and then getting those 2 consoles and incorrectly guessing the HVT or the designated target. I also use 2 command tokens to do coordinated orders with all of my Chaxas, so I'm moving them forward. Again, remember, I know Brando Castro must come out this turn, so I need as many models in there as possible because he's either just going to throw caution to the wind, in which case I want a bunch of guys to kill him and only give him 1 chance at killing my designated target, or Kusanagi is the most likely person to come out and start taking out people. But remember, I've been depleting my opponent's order pool pretty well, so she only has so many opportunities to do that before Brando is going to require some orders to actually start doing his thing. So you can see that I brought up so this guy was a Chaxa. This Camille is actually in group 2. I did put him back where he started after this photo was taken because I forgot he was not in group 1, so I just put him back. No harm, no foul there. I remember exactly where he was, as did my opponent. So I'm just moving everybody forward, and then as part of one of the moves, this Sakiel got to shoot a heavy flamethrower at the remote that's over there. Again, don't care about the order, care about getting rid of the repeater, especially now because there is nothing in group 2 that is worth doing or worth pumping orders into. So it's very likely that the flash remote would get 1 or 2 orders to get him into a perfect repeater position to white noise me. So I just want that to not be able to be happening. So I just knocked that guy down. Also, it gets rid of the arrow on the console if I can get somebody over there, which obviously I'm going to plan to do next turn. Kind of just a final shot of the table, so you can see, a couple of the Chaxas are in good positions, a couple of them aren't in such good positions, but they were pretty far back, so I just moved them as well as I could. And then I have this little piece right here, so the Galrail is prone in the front, McCall is not prone behind him, so that way I get to arrow with both. The plan is to only give Brando 1 shot at the designated target because he's going to have to go this way. So if I can put like an Eclipse Smoke right here or something like that, he's going to have to walk into it. He is good in melee, but so is my McCall, so we can have maybe a dicey interaction there. I'm just trying to put as many obstacles up as I possibly can. I think this is... Okay, yep, so this is Bakunin turn 3. So Kusanagi gets an order and climbs up the ladder, doesn't really do anything. Gets another order, I believe, kills the decoy that's over here, because you can kill the decoys with whoever, it doesn't matter. So gets, trying to get more decoys killed, which you get points for in the mission. And then has a go at this Chaxa. Chaxa just tries to dodge backwards, but burst 5, ballistic skill 14 is going to be really hard to overcome. So she, of course, gets gunned down. And then Kusanagi has a couple goes at the Galrail, who is shooting back as far as I know. The doctor was like more down this way, so she can be seen, but I don't think my opponent knows that she's my only specialist left. She's the only specialist I have left alive, so he should have definitely been shooting her, but instead I'm dodging this way so that I can get out of the line of fire of everything, and managed to do that. No shots were ever directed her way, so I did manage to keep her alive, which keeps my turn 3 hopes of winning the game alive, because if I don't have any specialists, obviously I'm pretty screwed. Is this? Yeah, so this I think I forgot to get a shot of, but pretty much once Kusanagi is blown, I think all but one of the orders in group 1. So coming down to it here, Brando stands up and then super jumps across this gap and then uses climbing plus to stick to the side of this building where he can see down the alleyway to the designated target. So he's going to get shot by a million things, or he can be seen by a million things. I can shoot him with one of the Chaxa that's near the building, the doctor, the sniper Galrail. I can arrow with the McCall. I think that's pretty much everything. So it's very likely that Brando will die here. So what I decided to do is shoot with the Galrail, shoot with the Chaxa, but I decided to smoke dodge with the McCall, because if I can get a smoke down like right here or something, like I talked about, that's going to shut off his ability to shoot again, and because he has so few orders left, he won't even be able to get past the smoke. There will be no chance. So he shoots a designated target dodges. He's 2 shots on 8s because I believe he's BS 11, and then he was at -3 range for a boarding shotgun. I don't have cover or anything. So it's 8s. I dodge on an 11 for a civilian. So this is actually favored to me because we both have, I think I ran the math on this with Infinity Dice Calc, but it's like we both have like a 39% chance of succeeding, and then there's like a pretty big chance in the middle where just both of us fail, either both the shots miss or I pass one of the arm saves, something like that. So this is very dicey, but the shotgun does manage to hit. I failed the dodge. fail the arm roll, and the designated target is killed by Brando Castro for a whole bunch of points because he's the data tracker. Brando Castro is killed by the Galrail with a sniper rifle, but not that much solace at this point because this swings the game pretty hard in terms of the point count and puts a lot more pressure on me in my turn 3 to see what I can get done. I believe with the last order, Kusanagi just repositions or something like that. Nothing that important happened. Okay, so we go over to my turn 3. And at this point, I'm a little panicked because I have to go an extremely long distance with the Kumatail, probably I don't know, probably 24 inches, maybe a little bit less, like 23 or something like that. So that's going to take her, 3 orders to do if she's just moving. And then she has to have a go at the console. And then I either have to get the Krail over there, which is doable because he's fast, or I just have to shoot the designated target with the doctor and take less points there. So to that, I have my McCall still alive. He is now impetuous because the triad broke because the Galrail was the leader, which he should not have been, but that's okay. So I have to move this way because there's some moderator with a combi rifle over here. I decide to throw smoke this way as I'm going. So the McCall is put unconscious by the combi rifle, but I do manage to stick the smoke, which is just something I want for the doctor because Kusanagi and her friends are, arrowing and all that kind of good stuff. I also move the Krail up here with one of my orders. Oh, sorry. Before I get into the impetuous stuff, I choose to move the Krail into group 1. I believe I had 5 orders in group 1 and 3 in group 2, something like that. I don't remember the exact count. I still have the Rasail. I have the Krail. I have a Kamail. Man, all these words sound the same. I have a Quarry. So I think I had 4 orders in group 2. So this is a big mistake because not only is it my last command token, which I could have used for a coordinated order or something like that, especially with the doctor, but now I'm my 2 most important models are in the same combat group. So this is just a brain fart by me, which I should not have done. So basically what happens, we'll go through it a little bit here, is the Kumatail moves. She gets into the smoke. She's fine in the smoke. Nobody can see her in the eclipse smoke and all that kind of fun stuff. So right here, there was a boarding shotgun Reverend Healer, I believe. So as I cross with the Kumatail, she's going to get seen by that. Kusanagi's line of fire is weird in that she probably won't be able to see me once I break the smoke. Certainly not with one more smoke, just because she's high on a building and I can get close to it and keep like this, and then I can get behind her. So that's doable, but I need to get rid of the boarding shotgun first. So I move the Krail over. He gets 1 order, and he has a face-to-face roll with both of the decoys that I know about. So I put 2 shots into one shot into the other. Kill one of them, but not the other. I think it passes a dodge or something like that, or a miss, something like that. Give him another order. He comes out to the position and he's in the photo, has a face-to-face with the boarding shotgun. We are 9 inches away, so I at least correctly guess the range. So I'm going to be on just 11s because I'm in 0 range, but there's no cover or anything like that involved. 3 shots AP, so only arm 2. And then she is going to be 2 shots because Harris team, but then she'll be on, I think it's 2 shots on 13s for Reverend Healer because we're out of good range. So a very dicey interaction, but I managed to win that one and knock her out. So that gets rid of the model that was an arrow here. So looking at the table now, I've spent, I think, 2 orders moving the Kumatail and 2 orders moving the Krail. So I only have 2 orders left. So it's not possible for me to get the doctor to the position she needs to be at. She can move again, but that's just going to get her to the console and she'll have no orders left to even try to press it or to kill the designated target or anything like that. So that's why this was a pretty big goof up to move the Krail into that combat group and have them cannibalize each other. So at this point, the game is over. I've lost. I cannot get enough points or make any moves that will get me into a win or anything like that. So I just decided to try to play for some points. So I managed to bring the Krail back down and shoot the other decoy and kill her. So at least I have. Oh no, I don't think I killed her. I think I failed to kill her actually on the last order, which is pretty typical for the Krail. Krail always fails me. I hate him. Can't wait to have him in my list, not have him in my list anymore once Spiral Corpse comes out, but I have another video about that. So what it is in the end, I killed my opponent's data tracker. Mine is still alive, so I get a point for that. My opponent's designated target is still alive. Mine is not, so he gets a point for that. He killed my designated target with his data tracker, so he gets 5 points for that. So it's 6-1. I have more consoles, so I think that's like 6-2 or 6-3 or something. And then I think I got like something else where I got like another. No, yeah, the final score was 6-3. Yeah, so I got more consoles and I kept my data tracker alive, but my designated target unfortunately was killed by my opponent's data tracker. So 6-3 loss for Tohaa. Very disappointing loss for me. Absolutely could have played this much better, and I made numerous mistakes that I think if I fixed even one of them, I would have won this pretty easily. Maybe not with a major, but definitely would have gotten the win. So the silver lining is that it helped me formulate my plan for how to play Unmasking quite a bit better. I came into this with no real strategy. I just kind of wanted to see how it would go, see what works, what doesn't work, and then go off of that. So I got a lot of good information that way, which helped me get a better plan for Unmasking, which I hope to play again this week, just to see if that stuff actually works or if it just makes sense in my head or what's going on. So that's what we do in practice, but I was definitely salty about this loss just because so many important dice interactions did not go my way. Like I was always winning my dice interactions with like pretty much overwhelming force, like 90%ers or something like that, like burst 5 against burst 1. I have better numbers in them too, all that kind of stuff. But then I wasn't able to kill a bunch of models that usually would die, and then I wasn't able to make some other dice rolls that were important as well. Sometimes those ended up in lost orders, while my opponent pretty much made every dice roll that he needed to, never had any problems with the consoles. Obviously Brando Castro at the end was a really big one, hitting on that, winning all those firefights with the Kael'tars, that kind of stuff, was just, that's sometimes how it goes. You can't do anything about that. A lot of those were close to 50-50s. Just happens that I lost all those coin flips, so I'm not too down on myself in terms of my overall strategy and things like that. I just need to shore up some of those little mistakes, which I will actually go into in the post-game video, which I will probably start recording right about now. So thanks for checking out this one. Strongly recommend you guys check out the post-game video. I know not many people do, but this one was a pretty close game with a lot of tight interactions, so I'm going to have fun going over it with a scalpel, and hopefully you guys enjoy watching me do so. But if you don't, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.